Hi, my dear students. As we have been studying visualization, we're going to continue with intermediate visualization and processing of information, second part, and we're going to deepen into tools and ways of visualizing information. Sorry, and of course, using more interesting, could we say, tools in order to present information in such a way that is more understandable and better presented. So, what we are going to learn today is, first of all, remember that we must never forget to analyze if we are using a database that is suitable for Tableau or if it is not. The fact is that many ways or many times you bring information. You may bring it from a big database of a company or from a government source or from different sources, and those sources may not have arranged the databases in such a way that you may import them directly to Tableau. So in this case, I included four mistakes, and not to drive you crazy looking for those mistakes, which is going to happen next times. I'm not going to tell you where you are, I mean where the mistakes are. But now I marked as last class the sheets that have the mistakes or the errors. So you have to find them, solve them, and then bring the database to Tableau. On the other hand, I am going to show you how to do things with a different database, and you are going to use the one that we have been using up to now, which is sales database. I'm going to use a sales database, but different from the one that we have been using. So what we are going to learn today is managing in a better way dates, because we may manage dates in different ways. So we're going to learn about dates today. Enhancing the use of filters. Filters are very important. As a matter of fact, it's a very important tool for us to analyze information. And forecasting, which means seeing the future, is our first step for forecasting, in order to see, based on our data, what we're going to get in the near future or the far future. We're going to enhance our knowledge about using colors for fields shown, which is also very important for visualizing information in a better way. We're going to understand continuous and discrete dates, which is a tool that let us analyze different or use different ways to analyze time in the information we have, or about the information we have. Of course, we're going to learn to use custom dates, which is very important, and date hierarchies. It is a very interesting topic, and it's also very important. We are going to learn also to use double axis graphs and double axis graphs synchronized. Okay, so let's start. As I told you, we are going to use a different database from the one we have been using, and I'm going to exemplify to show you how to do the exercises, but you will have to do the exercises with that database. Okay, this is the first drill we are going to see. This is about analyzing sales according to different dates. So I'm going do it by, from the start, from scratch. So what we need first of all is the um, order date in columns and the sales in rows. So we have here the information about years, how much we have sold in each year. But we can separate dates just clicking on the plus sign beside the name of the date, in this case year. And Tableau analyzes the first part of the date as year. Then you can divide it into quarters, and as you can see, the graph divides it into quarters. So this is the year, or these are the years, and these are the quarters, or trimestres in Spanish. If I keep clicking on the plus sign, I'm going to divide it into months. But if I want, I may take away quarters, for example. I drag it to the fields column, and now we have only years divided by months. Okay, now uh, if we go back to our drill, the example, what we want is to get information about months by years. So we have years and months. But in such a case that you want to see how months are behaving or how much we have sold in each month, you just take it with years. Okay, so you have months without the years. This is the sum of each month for all the years we have in the database. In this case, if I bring again the date like year and I take month beside, we are going to have 211, 12, 13, 14, and if we drag to the right, we go to the end of 14. Now, an advice or a tip. Sometimes the information is not, doesn't fit into the screen. So here you have one menu, drop-up menu, to fit with, height, or the entire view. Let's use, for example, fit with. So you have all the information in one screen. If you close this menu here, the information is going to fit the whole screen. If you open this one, or if you drag this one, the information will always fit the space you have to see it. Okay? Now, what I want now is to order the information in such a way, to look the information or to present information in such a way that months have colors. So you drag again order date. I'm going to widen this a little bit. Order date to color, this little square called color. And now you have the colors for each year. But if you want months, you're going to again open with the plus sign quarter, month, and take away quarter and year. And there you have month. You drag it to colors, and then you have a month colored. And as you can see, there is pen or pen on the right side of the screen that shows you the colors that are being used for each um, month. So if you click on, for example, March, what you're going to see is only March for each year you are analyzing. And if you click on any other one, you're going to see just that month. If you don't want to see a specific month, you just click outside the months, right? Now, as we learned in the past lesson, we may include the values for each of the columns. So you just click on this, which is the show mark labels command. Click on it, and you have the values for each month. Again, if you click on any month, you're going to see the quantities we have sold, right? Now, let's talk about the information we are seeing and the numbers. We're going to click on one of them, and we're going to see just that bar with that number. Okay, now if I want to format the numbers to see it like money, we click on the sum of sales, then we click on format, and we are going to see in the left part of the screen the default scale and title formatting for that graph. So we're going to click on number, click on currency custom, take away the decimals, right? And that's it. We have the numbers like, well, let me see, um, currency custom and automatic, right? And let's see, units, I don't know, decimal places include thousand separators, yes. Okay, so here we are manipulating the axis, and now we are going to manipulate the um, numbers of the bars here in the pan. And here we're going to manipulate the currency without decimals, right? And also here we're going to manipulate currency without decimals. Okay, so for each month we now have the currency format for each of the columns, and we have the currency format for the y-axis. Okay, now let's see what else we are going to do. We are going to use filters, and as we want to filter months, here we can't. We just can see 1 month for each year, right? But what we want is to filter months to compare them in a better way. For example, 1 month against another, or 1 month for each year. Let's see. I'm going to close this pan, and I'm going to bring the order date to filters. There you are. So it asks me, what do you want the filter to show? Years, quarters, months, days, week numbers, weekdays, and so on. So I want months, and I click next, and it asks me, what month do you want? All of them. So I click OK. And here we have a filter. But in order to see the filter, I'm going to click on the little triangle, and I'm going to click on show filter, and here is the filter at the right part of the screen. So I can click on all to unactivate months, and then I can click on any month or months in order to compare them. For example, I'm going to compare January with June, and that's it. Okay, here on the bottom part of the chart we are going to see the months: January in blue, June in green, and I can add other months to the filter in order to see the comparison. Now, let's see what else do we have in our drill. We can also color years if you want instead of months. So I'm going to take away months. Now all of them are in the same color, and bring again the order date for years, and bring years to color. So here we are, and we can add a filter for years. So I bring order date to filters, years, next, all of them, and I can click on all months, but I'm going to show the filter for years, and I can just look out for 1 year or a year compared with another one, right? Okay, and I can also compare months, for example this, and let's try if I can see all of them but colored. Of course, if I have colored year and then I color months, one of them is going to be more salient or more important than the other one. I'm going to bring order date, and I'm going to choose month, take away quarter, and click on take months to color. So it changes year to month color, right? Okay, this is our first drill. So in summary, we are analyzing sales by year and month, right? But if you want just months, you can take away year, or if you want, you just want year, you can take away month. So I'm going to take year for the last time away. And here we have months, which may be interesting for business to analyze how the sales are behaving in each month. For example, for July is very low, but for December is very high, the highest one. November and December. But January, February, March, and April are very quiet, low sales months, right? Okay, now we're going for our second drill. Right, in our second drill, we are going to first of all understand that we can duplicate the sheet we are working with, and we are going to have a sheet exactly as the one we had before. And what we're going to include here is the year, or the date here in month, and turn it to the other way around to have years. And we are going to analyze the information towards the future. Um, I had already the forecast, but I have just taken it away in order to show you how to include a forecast of your data. A forecast is an analysis of the information, and based on that analysis, we are going to forecast, which means see how the data is going to behave in the future. In this case, sales how are going to behave in the future. So um, I have to have year and month, because if I only have months, the forecast won't be possible by now. But in this case, we're going to include years. I have just included years, and I'm going to click on Analysis menu and go to Forecast, or Pronóstico in Spanish, and Show Forecast, right? Okay, so here is the forecast. I'm going to take it away again, forecast, and see that we have only from 2011 to 2014, meaning 4 years, complete 4 years until December of 2014. But we may have only until, I don't know, October of a year. So we are going to have a forecast in this case for the next year. Let's see. Analysis, forecast, show forecast. Now we have 2015 or 2015 with the forecast, which means that it is showing us what is the minimum and maximum value we may get with the columns and the lines over the columns, right? Now, if we want another year to forecast for more years, we are going to go to the analysis menu, forecast, and forecast options. So here we can choose if we want an automatic forecast length this next 13 months. As you can see, as we haven't finished 2014, it forecasts from December 2014 to December 2015. So I'm going to get it exactly 1 year, but I may have 1, 2, 3 years. Let's see, 15, 16, 17. This is the forecasting for those 3 years. And it is showing us a range from a minor, or from the lowest to the highest with the line over the column value that we may get in those years. Now, I can say until 1 or 2 years, for example, here, 1 or 2 years, just to, so it counts to 2014 and 2015 because it is 2 years. If I add another one, it's going to count until 2016. All right, so it depends on the what we need. We are going to forecast, in this case, 1 year, just to learn how to do it. Okay, now we are going to add a single value filter by category. For example, let's see if we have categories here. If we don't have categories, we are going to use a filter. And let's see, we don't have category. Ah, yes, we have. So I'm going to bring a filter here. And as always, I'm going to show the filter. Okay, and here we're going to show the filter. So we have category, furniture, office supplies, technology. Okay, something is happening with our data, and it is because the filter is empty. So sometimes we say, oh, what happened here? So we click on all, and we are going to see the whole information, including the forecasting. Let's see how is going to be furniture next year, right? 2015, and how it has been behaving the years before. Okay, so we can say, let's see, 211, how is it going? And the forecasting based on 211, and I'm going to include 212 or 2012, right? And then 2013, and then 2014. So we can analyze based on each year how the sales are going to behave, right? Okay, remember the lines are from the lowest to the highest possible results in those months for that year. Okay, now this category I'm going to convert it into one single value list for categories, case in which we can see them all categories, but if I click on any other, I'm going to see just that one. I cannot compare one to other, just clicking all. But if I want to compare furniture with technology, I'm not going to be able, right? But it depends on what you need. This is what we call a single value list for an item to be analyzed. Now I'm going to include a multiple value filter by years. Here we have years already, okay? So we're going to use, this is a multiple value. As you can see, if you click on this little triangle here, you're going to see that it is a multiple values list of years. So it is already included. Now I am going to include a multiple value filter by category. So here we have a category, and this in this case is a single value list, and I'm going to include also a multiple value list of category. Here I bring and okay. Oh, I have to convert it into multiple value, right? Let's see, multiple value list. Okay, there you are. So you have two ways of doing it. All right, now what we want to see is all information, all categories, all years, all months. And we want to see the trend lines for each period. So we use the right mouse, and remember the right mouse button is called clock in our classes, clock. So I'm going to click on trend lines and show trend lines. It asks me, a trend line will not be shown because stacked marks is on. Would you like to turn stacked marks off and add the trend line? Yes, it's okay. Thereafter, we are going to understand what it means. There we are. Those are the trend lines. As we can see, the forecast is motivating because it is showing us that our sales are going to grow. As a matter of fact, they have been growing from 2011 on, growing. And the forecast, let's see the forecast for some, if I clock on the graph, I can go to the forecast options also. and I'm going to tell I want 2 or 3 years to see how our sales are going to advance. As a matter of fact, the next 3 years are going to be very similar, but they are motivating because they are um, behaving um, in such a way that we are selling more. So it is great to see that the trend lines tells us that from January to December, our sales will grow. Anyway, another way to analyze this information is seeing that the first months of the years, I'm going to take January, February, March, and April, are not so good. So something is happening around these years. So for example, if I go to furniture, let's see furniture, then office supplies, right? And or technology, right? Technology goes up during those 4 months, but furniture is not so good as technology. As a matter of fact, in 2013, it went down from January to April. So something is happening in the first semester, or if you want, divided by trimesters. For example, you can take or bring just 2 more months in order to have a semester. Okay, right. So it shows you that it gets better for the semester. And if we analyze the second semester, let's see, the second semester, I'm going to bring, let's say, trimesters, again, order date, and let's see, quarters, next, the second 2 quarters, no, the first 2 quarters, the second, sorry, 2 quarters, there we are, 4 months, right? Okay, and I'm going to show the filter for quarters, all quarters, right? And I want just the second and the third. The second and the third quarters are better. Sorry, just the third and the fourth. They show that our sales grow a lot in the second semester of the year. So what we have to do is to think what is going on during the first semester and make some decisions about the strategies, the um, ways we are trying to get customers, and so on. Okay, okay. So we are going to do a third drill or exercise, and we are going to use the year as a continuous item or field and the month as a discrete field. Remember that the difference between discrete and continuous is that discrete means individually separated and distinct, for example, quantity of products, and continuous means forming an unbroken whole, like for example, quantity average. But also, let's see, if I bring the order date here, it is blue, so it is discrete. If I click on here, I'm going to see that this is analyzed as a discrete um, variable, right? Okay, so discrete means that it is a title, right? And I'm going to bring, for example, profit. I'm going to bring profit, right? This is the profit, and as you can see, it is green. so it is understood as a continuous variable. Okay, I may turn, um, for example, I may bring sales beside some, and we have two graphs together, but I may say that um, the year separated by quarters. I'm going to convert quarter in a continuous variable, which means that quarter becomes quantity in the graph. But let's understand this is in a better way. We are going to um, use, I'm going to take it away, we're going to use month as a discrete variable. So I'm going to bring the order date and take month, take away quarter and year, right? So month is a discrete, let's see if it is true, discrete variable, okay. And I'm going to bring year, again date, as a continuous variable. So it is now saying January and the years, okay. But I'm going to bring sales as rows, and here we are, okay. So we have the year and the month, okay, and how it has been behaving the month through years: February, March, April. Now we're going to color the sales. Let's see, going to color sales, and well, not necessary but interesting. And also I may color, well, I'm going to color better the years in order for you to see the difference. Order date, I'm going to bring it to color years, and as you can see, for each year there is a point in one color. So this is 214 or 2014, 2014, 2014, and 2013, and 2011, and 2012, right? Okay, as you can see, as I color years, I may see each of the years. Now, can we change the graph? Let's see. Instead of using point graphs, I may use bar graphs. There you are. Or I may ask Tableau what is your recommendation. So I click on the recommendation of Tableau. Okay, this show me is a recommendation, but I may use different graphs, depending on my needs, right? Depending on my needs. Tableau suggests this, and it takes away the color, so I'm going to, again, order date by color. Each year, in this case, right? It became month was a continuous one and became discrete whenever I used this kind of graph, which is an area graph, and I'm going to use it continuous again. Okay, right. Okay, now I'm going to see, for example, I'm going to bring a single value filter for region. So I get it to region, sorry, to filter. I'm going to take all, okay, okay. This is a worldwide selling company. So I'm going to show the filter, and here we are. I'm going to close show me, and here we are the filters: Africa, Canada, Caribbean, and so on. Let's see how Caribbean area has been behaving. Okay, as you can see, from month to month, January, February, March. If we bring another filter, for example, the let's see, category, all of them. Well, better than category, let's bring the segment, okay, all segments, going to show the filter, here it is. So I want to see how corporate segment is behaving. As you can see, it's always the same for the first semester of the years, and the second semester is better. Okay, let's see home office, and let's compare it with consumer, right? Okay, so here we are, home, consumer, and home. Hmm? Okay, now um, as you can see, we can manipulate the continuous and discrete variables. I'm going to turn it around. Year, continuous, and month, discrete, to see what happens. And I'm going to use a line, and this is it. So each line is the result of each year. Okay, as you can see, the year became the mark in this span, right? And it was colored according to the lines. I mean, each line is a year. So I can add the values. Let's see. Of course, the values are going to be very big and maybe interrupting the good viewing of the graph, but let's add them here. There we are. In order to see, we don't need to convert it into currency format, just to save space and uh, the easiness to see it. Okay, this is for Caribbean, right? I'm going to click it on all of them. So this is the behaving, okay? So 2014 is the best year we have had, okay? Let's see if we can forecast. Let's see, show forecast, and there we are. For the next year, it is going to grow. In June, it's going to be better, as always, and um, it is going to behave quite the same than the years before. Okay, we may also forecast for, let's see, 2 years. There you are. So it makes 2015 or 2015 and 2016. Okay, right. Let's see for Asia. Where is Asia? Africa, Canada, Central Asia, and South Asia. Okay, there we are. Hmm? As you can see, it may grow a lot because it's one of the most important markets we have had in the last years. Let's see without the forecasting, forecast, not forecast, and this is Central and South Asia, right? As you can see, it is more or better in the first semester than in other regions. Like, for example, let's see Africa. Let's see Africa. Africa. It behaved very well in 2013, but in 2011, 12, and 14 was quite the same as the whole package of sales, right? Okay. Now, this kind of analysis may be enhanced if you have more information about the different items. Of course, the more information you have, the better analysis you can do. Okay, okay. Our next drill is about using year as a discrete variable and months as a continuous variable. So let's see. I'm going to take quantity, quantity as rows, and I'm going to not to add it, but to instead of the measure sum, I'm going to use the average. I want to see how much average or how is quantity average behaving by years. So order date, year as a continuous as a discrete variable, but also months as a continuous variable. Okay, so we have here, but what we're going to do is to analyze it by region into the graph. Let's see region into the graph. So I'm going to click to bring it to rows. So we have Africa for each year, Canada, Caribbean, and so on. So in this kind of screens, we could possibly, depending on the quantity of information we have, use the instead of the standard view, we can use the fit height view. Okay, we have quite an analyzable chart, but a little bit crowded. So what we have to do is to not to use fit height, but to use a standard one and to drag to see the information. Okay, now we want a region filter. So I'm going to bring the region filter, and as you know, we're going to um, region filter. All right, and okay, show the filter. There you are. And the filter is multiple values filter, and I'm going to add one category only or single value one. Let's see it. Remember, when I don't see information is because I left the filter empty. So I'm going to click, but I'm going to use single value list in order to choose just one. See how the information varies depending on what you choose. Furniture, office, technology. Okay, or all of them. And also I'm going to bring a filter by segment. Let's see, by segment. And I'm going to use a multiple values list by segment. All, okay. And show it. Remember, it's better to show it. And I need a multiple values. There you are. Okay. Now remember, if I have many filters, it is better, for example, to have what we call multiple values drop down here. So you can click on it, open it, and choose what you want, and it closes automatically. I'm going to use multiple values drop down for category and also for region, just to give an example. So I want just one region, for example, East and Oceania. Okay, but I want the category furniture, and I want the segment for consumer. There we are. Of course, I can color. For example, I want to color by, let's say, quarter. I better analyze it by month. So I'm going to bring again the order date, and oh, Let's see, I'm going to open it to month, take away quarters, and analyze it as a continuous one, right? And color the date by month, not quarter, not year, but month. There we are. Okay, color. There we are. Okay, we may use another chart like this one, but it takes away the colors for months, right? So I bring it again. Let's see. Month, location, order ID. No. Order ID no. Is order date by quarters, months. Let's see, months. There we are. So I take away quarters, and there we are. Nice colored chart. Okay. Remember, whenever I bring colors to, I mean, an item to color, here we have. So June is a point. May is a point, right? Okay. Now, I may bring, of course, filter for months in order to see how it is behaving toward time, and I can click on fit with for the whole chart. Now we're going to study custom dates. Custom dates, we're going to analyze, for example, let's go for sales. Sales again, sales, right? And we're going to analyze it by order date. Okay, so we are going to work with custom dates. Custom dates is a way of analyzing dates in such a way that shows the information grouped by years, weeks, days of the week, and so on. Let's see, I'm going to analyze sales. So I'm going to use sales in the rows, and I'm going to use the average of sales. Instead of measure sum, I'm going to use the average. I could use median, count, minimum, maximum, percentile, and so on. I'm going to use average. And I'm going to use the date, but customized. So I get the date, order ID, order date. I'm going to delete this one. Order date. I was trying this. I'm going to delete this. Delete this one. Don't worry. I am just deleting what I had done before. So I take a date and click on it on the little triangle. Create custom date. When I create a custom date, I may tell the software the name. For example, I want months, so I can create it order by months, and I want an exact date. Okay, which is the default value it says. Okay, so now I have one new field, which doesn't mean that it is a real new field, but it is a way of analyzing a field. I am customizing that field without losing the order date itself. So I'm going to bring it to columns, and I'm going to convert it into not continuous but a discrete in order to have years as a title or as a text. And then I'm going to create another custom date, create custom date for months. So I'm going to say order sorry, for years, order by years. Can call it whatever, years. Okay, okay. And I'm going to bring it, sorry, I'm not going to use years, I'm going to use weekdays. So I am going to create, I'm going to delete it first to create it again. I could have modified it, but it is better to create it again for you to see. Order date, create custom date, and weekdays, orders, order by weekdays. Okay, so I bring it here. It shows me years, but I'm going to take it quarter, month, and week. As you can see, it doesn't show me all of them that is customized, or because it is customized. So I can click right on the plus to see what I want. Okay. Now, of course, it is a if I click here, I see that it is a continuous item or variable. So I'm going to convert it into discrete. And I can see here um, by the day, 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 right? And I'm going to bring, uh, of course, I can see the filter by year, right? Order, which was created automatically, but I can't see the whole graph. So I'm going to tell Tableau to fit with, right? Of course, it is a quite um, confusing way of seeing it, but I'm going to take it away again, and I'm going to bring it again to see by quarter, month, and week, right? And I may see it by weekdays. Let's see. I'm not doing it very well. I'm going to create another one. What I want to see is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's see. Custom date, uh, days, weekdays, order by weekdays. Let's see. Uh, here, weekdays. What that is what I didn't choose. So it showed me an exact date, weekdays, right? Okay. Now, it told me it already exists, weekdays. Let's see, edit. I'm going to change it instead of deleting it and creating it again, weekdays. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to bring it here. And now we have for each year what has happened on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and so on, right? A better way. My mistake was not to tell Tableau that I was going to use weekdays. So these are the options we have, and I didn't tell Tableau, so it chose exact date. So therefore it showed me 1st of January, 2nd of January, and so on. Okay, so this is weekdays what I am going to use. There you are. Now, I'm going to filter it by, for example, products. Let's see, products name. So I'm going to filter it here, and I'm going to tell it, take it all. There we are, and show filter. Of course, it is a long list. I may use a multiple values drop down list, and as you can see, we can choose from one year to another. Remember, this is a range of dates, as we have a filter of dates, this is a range of dates, and I may use, for example, relative dates and so on. This is going to be studied later. Anyway, I can drag here. For example, I want just 212, 213, or all of them. Okay, I can even, well, choose whatever year I want, right? And I may, of course, um, write down here, okay, and write down here. This is a range from 2012 to 2013. Right. Now here, I want to see just one product. For example, let's see, alcohol 3 ring, blah, blah, blah. This is the average of sales for each year for each day. Of course, there are days in which we cannot sell. I mean, we haven't sold, sorry. So the fact is that it shows me the main days. Now, I'm going to take another one to see if it shows me more days. There you are. Here it included Thursdays, but if I take this away, Thursdays are not so significant, right? In this year, but in some other years, yes. Okay, there we are. And the main topic here is customized dates. Okay, now I make color. I'm going to color it by months, order by months, drag it to color, and there we are. Or I may color it by days or by years. Okay, now I can change the color. Remember, the lesser, the clearer, the higher, the darker. I can double click on it and I can change colors to many colors. What I did was to double click on it on the bar. Double click and I may change colors here, or I may use automatic colors, like for example this one, and I may use stepped colors like this one. I'm going to make this color darker or more of a red color, okay, in order to show you. And I may also use more steps. Here we are. Okay, all right. Okay. So the fact is that we have, or we may customize dates and convert them into discrete variables in order to analyze the information. All right, our next drill is going to be, I'm going to duplicate this one, and I am going to make a hierarchy with the order by months and order by weeks. Okay, so I'm going just to drag in order to create a hierarchy. Remember, a hierarchy is kind of, for example, location is a hierarchy and the icon is kind of a hierarchy or a hierarchy graph. And I can open it and I see that the hierarchy is first the country, second the states, third the city. Okay, to create a hierarchy, I just drag one onto the other. For example, order by weeks onto order by months, and I create a hierarchy which I'm going to call a date hierarchy, right? Okay, now we have a hierarchy, and as you can see, it changed to another kind of it changed to another kind of graph, but I'm going to rebuild it. So I have just created the day hierarchy. I'm going to take it away, to take everything away, everything away, everything away, everything away. And I'm going to rebuild it. All right, and I'm going to take this away. All right. Year two. Bye. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to um, analyze the region as a um, title for the graph, right? Which is a dimension, what we call dimension. And remember, we have dimensions and measures. Okay, dimensions are words, are categories, and so on. And I'm going to bring the total sales here, the sum of sales, and I'm going to order it by the hierarchy I've just created. So I click on here, right, and convert it into a discrete variable, right? But what I'm going to use is the region mm, um, as I'm going to convert it into, well, what we are using is this one, which is okay. We may use this one. Well, as we have a lot of information, we may have a lot of different kind of graphs to use. So I'm going to bring again orders, the hierarchy, right? And um, I'm going to use, well, line is okay. I'm going to use filters. For example, the month we have just created, or the by month filters, and I want months to filter all months. Okay, and show the filter for months. For example, I'm going to analyze January, right? It is kind of a little bit um, messy because I lost the region. So let's see the region. The region. I lost it whenever I changed the graph. So we have to be careful about. I'm going to bring the region here. Okay. So now we have for each year the information of sales, mm, and we are going to use also the filter for the region. So for example, this is Africa, this is Caribbean, and we may also use, let's see it all, mm, how it is behaving, and I'm going to try to fit with, if we can. Well, it doesn't change a lot, but the fact is that we are analyzing for a region the sales, right, and order by months, between within those years. Okay, I'm going to take this away. There are the by months, and I'm going to take the order date instead of the hierarchy. Well, I can use the hierarchy and I can open the hierarchy, but it is going to be um, equally messy, if we can say that, because it is going to analyze order by months, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this to discrete. Okay, and I'm going to put first months and then days. Let's see, and that's it. Months and days. Sometimes that those requests have or need more time to be analyzed. As you can see, it's a messy one. So I'm going to take orders away, right? And I'm going to use the date, order date, just by years, as you can see. And I may say also by months, for example, by months, not quarters. So I take away quarters. That's it. And there you are. Okay, now we can um, use more filters, like for example a single value filter by subcategory, if we have subcategories here, or categories, yeah, subcategory. So I'm going to use a subcategory filter um, for all of them. Okay, and I'm going to show it. Let's see, the one. This is the one. Show the filter for subcategories, and I want to know only about, for example, art and paper. There you are. Okay. Okay. Now let's see. The best way to analyze it is not by region, the color. I'm going to take away the color for region, and I'm going to bring the color for example, subcategory. Color of subcategory. There we are. So we can compare categories by color. Machines, another color. Furnishings, another color. Okay. Now we can enhance the view of this chart by, for example, taking away months and seeing it by year. And of course, for example, let me try this, taking away region, and that's it, right? But I may bring region, let's see, to the title, and this will be or would be a much better way to analyze information. Although the information down there is quite messy, okay? But I can see that for these items in all regions, the information is quite um, clearer than the other way. So I can take, for example, a filter by region. Let's see, filter by region. Okay, okay, and show the filter and see, for example, Africa. How is Africa behaving? Mm. And I'm going to use a line one. There it is, Africa. Let's take another one compared to Canada. As you can see, Canada is behaving very badly, right? Let's see Caribbean, Central. Well, Central is much more important or has sold a lot more than Africa, Caribbean, Canada, and other, for example, East. Let's see, East is also low. So something is going on with the sales in those parts of the world. Okay, right. The next exercise is going to be a double axis graph, which means that we are going to use two values for the same variable. In this case, for example, um, discount and total discount, average of total discount. So I'm going to bring discount. It says sum of discount, and I'm going to bring discount again, and I'm going to tell it that it is not a sum but an average, right? But I'm going to also bring, notice that if I create a hierarchy in any page or in any sheet, it will appear in any sheet I create thereafter and the sheets before. So it is already done or created, so I'm going to bring it orders by month, first of all, and there we are. But I'm going to use the instead of years, let's see, I'm going to uh, okay, so I'm going to change the order by months because um, there is a mistake that we have to analyze. A date, and we have an exact date, so it is taking a lot of dates, so I'm going to use only months. Okay, there we are. So we have months, or the by months, okay, and the sum and average of discount, right? Now, of course, we can also, mm, instead of years, mm, we can also say that we are going to use the months as a discrete field. So here we have January, February, March for each year, uh, showing us that this is the behavior for each month in each year, right? Now, you have to notice that as we created the graph, here there are two variables and all variables. So if I want to change the graph, for example, for all the variables, I may say for all the variables we are going to use bars. So we have two graphs in one. But if I want to change just the sum of this count, I click on it, and instead of a bar I'm going to use a line, for example. So I can compare a bar with a line. And if I want for the average discount a line, I can click line, and I could have click on all and then line for both, right? Okay, now I can also color, depending on what I want, color by, going to put color by discount, and as you can see, the lower the clearer, the higher the darker, okay? And of course I could change the graph if I wanted, right? So this is what we call a double axis graph, and we can also create some filters for this, right? And some changes for this. For example, I could clock on the average, right? Which is this one, clock on the average, and establish a dual axis. Well, it is also established. Don't worry about that. I'm going to change the colors, and I'm going to use whatever color for the level. Could be compared better if we have bar for all of them, right? All right, so if we clock on average discount, mm, we may convert it in dual axis. As you can see, we have here from 0 to 300 and here from 0 to 0.15, okay, which is the average of discount percentage. Okay, so I'm going to put together the axis in order to compare the variables. So I click on average and click on dual axis. So we have here one axis for the average, from discount, from promedio in Spanish, and discount, the sum or the add, right? Comparing or showing that the discount will be or would be or was higher during the last months of 2014 than during all of the rest of the months of the rest of the years. Okay, so we convert two axis graph into one dual axis graph. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to undo it, not dual axis. We have two axes, one discount and one from average discount, and I'm going to convert it in dual axis. There you are. So we have an axis here and we have an axis here. One is for discount and one is for the average discount. Okay. Now our next drill is to change things in this same graph. So for example, I'm going to change the path for one of them. The path is this one. And let's see, for example, for all, if I change the path, this is a line path, but if I change the path, I could change to the one of those three. I'm going to change just the average. So I'm going to change the path for average like this one. And there you are. It's kind of a square, kind of a city view of the variable. And I can turn it around, so I'm going to convert it again, and I'm going to use some discount, and I'm going to change the path for some discount. There you are. Okay, and what I'm going to color, as you can see, we have, I'm going to close this and close everything, and we have some measure names and some measure values. Okay, so when I have two variables or double axis graph, I can use measure names. I'm going to click it and take it to color, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, measure names, convert one of the measures in one color. Okay, and if I take measure values to color, I'm going to convert measure values, which are all of these. But what one do I need? I need the sum of discount. I don't need CNT because measure values group all the values of the database. I sum of discount, and I don't need the sum of this, the sum of this, the sum of this, sum of sales, sum of shipping, and that's it. Okay, but what I want is to show, not by colors this way, and I'm going to take this away. Let's see, for all multiple fields, I'm going to take this away. Okay, so now we have the colors, the same, and the comparison of the different paths. Of course, I can use the same path or different paths. Okay, I'm going to add the values. So I just click on the to add the values, and as they are a little bit messy, I can say that for the average, right, I'm going to for the average I'm going to format it, and the number standard, sorry, custom with 0, okay, and numbers here, custom 0, and here custom 0. Let's see, 1, 1. Okay, so now they are more understandable. The same for the sum discount. So I'm going to format it and convert it into currency standard. No, not currency, because I know it is currency. Number custom without decimal. Decimals here and here, and number custom without decimals. Okay, better understandable, right? Okay, so we have changed the path of one of them in order to see the difference. But well, this is just viewing differences, but the values are the same. Okay, the next part of this is I'm going to duplicate this graph, and I'm going to change the data, but in order to synchronize the axis, right? And I mean both axes, because we have one axis which is from 0 to 350 and one axis which is from 0 to 0.15 or 0.15 in English. Now, let's see. I'm going to change first of all. This is sum and this is average. I'm going to change sum to compare it with, for example, the standard deviation. So we have the average and the standard deviation. And I'm going to synchronize both axes. So I clock on, sorry, in the second axis, where is it? And well, I can clock on this or on this and click on synchronize axis. So the axis for both variables will be the same from 0 to 0.5, 0 to 0.5, which allows us to compare. But I'm going to, as it is a standard deviation, sorry, an average, I'm going to change for the average because it was, the format was number. So I'm going to change it to numbers with one decimal or two decimal places. Sorry, I'm changing the one that is not. This is the average. So I'm going to change the average format for average. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, we have to change is the standard deviation. So I'm going to format and change it to one decimal place. Okay, so we have quite the same deviation of all of them. Could be three decimals, let's see, instead of one, two, or three, in order to see the difference. Okay, of course, we have to understand the data we are analyzing, and it will be more understandable if we understand what we are analyzing. In this case, it's just to learn how to compare axes with the same synchronization. So um, the data may not be as understandable as we would wish. Okay. Now another way to show this information is to synchronize first of all. Click on anyone, click on synchronize, and return to sum instead of standard deviation, and to graph it in another way. For example, the sum as a bar and the average as a line. Okay, and I can color the sum, right? The sum of this count. There we are. In order to see how it behaves and how the average behaves. Okay, right, that's it. So what we have learned today, you're going to apply to the database that we have been using, and I'm going to send you together with the database PowerPoint file in order for you to see what we have to do, right? Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I'll be available anytime.